Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Diane Deziel and today I want to propose you a nice fabric manipulation. You'll be able to do flowers like this in a moment. So let's start with the pattern. So you're going to need just a little scrap piece of cardboard, and first you're going to cut a little stripe of that cardboard, and we're going to do a little tool to be able to pivot circle easily. So decide the size you want your circle to be. The pink one that I show you at the beginning had a diameter of 8 centimeter, but you could do smaller. I usually prefer a little smaller like this one at 6 centimeter diameter. So whatever is the diameter of your circle, you're going to trace a little line with half of the diameter. So in that case I'll make it 4 because my pink flower has a 8 centimeter diameter, and I'm going to keep it just a little bit extra on both sides. Then you take your awl and you're going to make a little hole on both sides. So this is your tool to do the circle. So I'm going to ask you to do on the cardboard to trace one circle holding one of the pivot and just pivot the other side using your pen. So here is your circle. I suggest you cut it double so you'll be able to use one to trace on the fabric and the other one to trace our triangle guide that we need. So I'm going to staple it so it doesn't move and cut all around. So now that you have 2 circles, you're going to use the top one. Why the top one? Because that one should have the little hole right in the middle, and you're going to trace a line side to side touching this little point. And you're going to divide your line by 4. So you divide by 4, but in fact you just need the last quarter. So this is the right way to do or to get triangle, perfect triangle. So you're going to square a line at the last quarter, and you're going to connect both hands to the top part of your circle. Et voila! You have a perfect triangle that we'll use as a guide for the sewing. So now cut your triangle inside the line. So you have both your circle to cut the fabric and triangle to use as a sewing guide. So now let's talk about the fabric. For this example, I'm going to use leftover of my skirt here. So leftover fabric. Even if it's little piece, the piece that we have to cut is pretty small. Like I said, scrap piece of both, and you're going to need to get some glue. For this one, I'm using glue that you could buy by meter. Be careful because some company, they sell it very expensive. If you could get it by roll just at your fabric store, it's much cheaper, like $2 or $3 a meter, and it's the same width as most of the fabric. So what you're going to do is put your fabric, the smallest piece, on the wrong side up, and you're going to put the glue over. It's very important that it doesn't come out, so your glue has to be a little bit inside the actual fabric. And I usually don't waste anything. I would cut the excess and just put it back over. It's going to be even stronger. This glue is going to melt the 2 fabric or bound the 2 fabric together. So when you're done placing your glue, you're going to take the second fabric, wrong side towards the glue. So now that we have the 3 layer, the 2 fabric back to back, wrong side to wrong side with the glue in between, you're going to press to melt your glue. If your fabric has a tendency to change color easily, I suggest you take your ironing cloth to put it on and protect your fabric. I'm just going with a lot of iron, a lot of steam, and at the maximum heat possible. So even if you're tempted to test or to look at it to see if it's glued together, I suggest that you wait until your fabric is cold. So you don't move it, you just wait, and we'll see after if it's bounded together. So when your fabric is cold, you could check, and if you remember, we didn't put anything at the edge of the fabric, so now your 2 fabric, they're perfectly bound together. We could start tracing and cutting the circles. So you have 2 choices. For this one, you could place your circle on the fabric and trace around, or what I usually do is I take my little pattern for the circle and I just check before to see if it's okay and trace right away with this tool on the fabric. Each flower is going to need 6 circles, so make sure you prepare enough for your project, or you could always come back and do some more. So when you're done tracing, it's time to cut. So you're going to cut around each circle. If you do it with a big piece of fabric, then you could even layer and cut 2 at a time or 3 at a time, no problem. Make sure you cut inside your line to be safe. So now that you're finished cutting your circle, I just want to show you another one that I did, and you will see the result later. Is I cut my 2 fabric before bounding, and what I did, I cut my fusible in the triangle shape. So you will see that my petals are going to be double for these 2 circles because they're bounded only in the middle. So let's go for the first sewing step. For this one, I'm going to use the self fabric as my good side. So when you're sewing lining side with lining side. And what you're going to do on the sewing machine, you're going to put 2 of them back to back, put the triangle right at the center, and you're going to sew one side. I want you to prepare all your pairs and do 1 stitch on each pair of circles. So now that your circles are all paired, you could separate them, removing all the little thread of the seam. And what you're going to do, you're going to give a little press. So that's going to make your flower move a little and give more 3D to it. So you don't have to go all the way, just give a little press, open seam. So when you're done pressing, you're going to put them again back to back. So the nice seam is your back to back, and we're going to go back on the sewing machine and sew them well aligned, and sew them one more time with one side of the triangle. Now that you pair your pairs, so you have 4 pieces together, I forgot to mention that you should keep as many individual pairs to make 6 petals or 6 circles per flower. So and we'll do the final seam by pairing the 2 with the 4. So in that case, you place them one side at a time. So center with center, and we're going to use again the triangle to do another side of the triangle with a seam. And if you notice, I back tack at the beginning and at the end. So when you're done assembling the 2 with the 4, your flower are finished. You could then assemble them together the same way, but this time maybe you don't need the triangle. If you do need it, you could use it. Put your flower back to back. I'm going to pin for now, but you could assemble them the same way you did all over the project, and you might be able to assemble them as a much bigger flower by attaching 2 sides. So just like that. That's also a good way to see what you want to create for design. This time we did the complete flower, but you could continue your design with unfinished flower, and then stitch it on your garment. To stitch them on, you could just go in the middle line or lift one side and stitch under for a little while, as much as you want to hold onto your garment. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy my fabric manipulation. Thank you for watching, and I see you next time.